everybody. Thank you for tuning in to Empower Hour with your host, Nakornsri. This is a platform to educate, enlighten, and inspire the world so that they can reach their full potential. I love to have leaders on this platform to really hear their wisdom, their knowledge, and just be the light of the world. So today, our guest is Janiyah Johnson. I am so grateful to have her here. I'm so honored to have you here.
No problem. I'm honored to be here. Honored to be here.
We met about, what was it, like 2 years ago?
Yes.
2 years ago. I was on a speaking engagement, and, she was there. We connected right away. Everything to do with women empowerment, that's her. She loves supporting women. She loves supporting women who are living their purpose. And I really realized that she had such an amazing story of overcoming adversity, finding her true potential, finding her truth, and I'm so honored for her to share your story. Your story. So tell us exactly, what do you do?
Okay.
And, all of that.
Okay. My name is Janiyah Johnson. I'm a licensed therapist, so I provide therapy to children as well as women. And my target population is women and teenage girls.
So how did you find that passion to do that?
Wow, that's a good question. After being in a car accident when I was 18 years old, I was a freshman in college. I lost my arm. I was amputated. My arm was amputated, and I was ejected out of the window.
Wow.
And from there, I actually found purpose. I recognized the need for support. I understood that people deal with adversity, deal with trauma on a daily basis all day.
Right.
And I really wanted to just provide support to other people who's dealing with adversity. And it doesn't have to be the level of trauma that I actually experienced.
Right.
But, trauma and challenges and stressors in life could be any and everything.
Right.
And so I just wanted to be a support, and specifically for women and young girls.
So walk us through that process of, you being in a car accident and what it did to you emotionally, physically. I mean, you're mentally, everything.
Well, once I woke up, when I was in the hospital, I was left with a lot of questions in regards to who would date me. That was a big thing. You're a freshman in college, so that's really important. I'm in college, and I'm trying to figure out who would hire me and how can I work, how can I function.
Right.
And so I was left with all of these questions in regards to my life. So I was very scared, and it was an adjustment. And physically, my left arm was amputated, and so it left me with questions about who I was and who I am as a person. So that's what happened right after the accident. You're just numb, and you don't know what to do.
Right.
And you're just trying to figure it out.
So you were like shocked, you were
Shocked.
scared, you didn't
Very
know what
shocked.
to do. This is a new identity for you. Was there a moment of like grieving, and how long was that process? How did you get out of that?
The grieving process was probably about 3 months.
Okay.
I had to go to rehabilitation, and rehab and different things like that. But once all of that was done, I actually had a revelation from God that life was not over for me. And I began to recognize that I could have been paralyzed.
Okay.
It was my left arm, and I'm right-handed, but it could have been my right hand or my right arm.
Right.
And so I still had life.
Right.
And so God revealed to me that this is not the end.
Right.
And actually, it was the beginning for me.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, what did he say to you? What was that message? I mean, can you share with us?
Ironically, I was very depressed, and I remember God just telling me to just get up and do something.
Wow.
And so I almost felt like I was being pushed. It was an out-of-body experience because it wasn't my energy. It wasn't me doing anything at all.
Right.
And then I just started wanting to do more than just lay in bed and sleep, because that's exactly what I was doing for 3 months.
I understand.
And my family didn't know what, I would do or what I was capable of doing.
Right.
But God just told me to get up and do something. And I told my family that I was going back to college because my accident happened during spring break. And so I returned back to college the next semester. And
Wow.
God told me to go and major in psychology. In the middle of the night, I woke up and God told me to major in psychology, and I did. And I didn't know why. I promise. And it was the first time I heard from God.
Wow.
It was the first time I ever heard from God, and he said to me, go major in psychology.
Right.
Didn't know why.
So there is definitely a thing called God confidence, because it doesn't come from your own confidence, right? It doesn't come from your own willpower or strength. You had to find
Right.
that in yourself.
Absolutely.
However, but when you surrender, did you have a time of surrendering, or was it like, I gave up, and then God spoke to you?
I think sometimes you get to a place in life where there's nothing else to do. And so you have no choice but to go to God.
Yes.
Because this is not working.
Yes.
Depression wasn't working for me. And I was back in college and had no idea why I was in college. I'm like, what am I going to major in? Because my accident happened my freshman year in college.
Right.
And so when I went and majored in psychology, I didn't know what I was going to do again. But I heard it, and I knew I had to follow what I heard.
Right. So when you went back, was it kind of like, was there a moment of being ashamed of your new,
Yeah.
all that?
Because I went back to college and everyone knew I was in a car accident, there wasn't shame because everyone knew my story. However, when you get into a new relationship with someone, or, I'm out going to get my nails done, every time everyone's like, well, why do you only need one hand done? Different things like that.
Right.
Because I actually have a prosthetic arm. There was a time where I would say my arm is just broke. And people would be like, oh, okay, because she always uses one arm. And then I had to live in my truth. And the reality is that I have one arm, and there's strength in that. And it doesn't stop anything.
Yes.
And I began to learn that you teach people how to view you, and you can teach people how to treat you.
Yes.
And from there, I've never had anyone look at me as if I had a disability or feel sorry for me, anything like that.
Right.
So I actually, I just learned that you teach people how to view you and how to treat you.
I love it. I truly believe that as well. You definitely teach people how to view you and how to teach you by treating yourself a certain way.
Absolutely.
And I love how you said speaking your truth. And you have to admit, who you are, and when you say you find strength in that, that is so beautiful.
Thank you.
That is so
Thank you.
beautiful. And so you pushed through, you got your college education, and then you became a licensed therapist.
Yes.
So tell me about that process. I know that we spoke before, and you have said that it was a situation where you gain experience, but you still knew your true calling was like women and everything like that. Like, tell me about that process.
So I went to college and got my degree in psychology, and then I went and got my master's in community agency counseling. But I had dealt with more adversity in regards to life, because I don't feel like education is all.
Okay.
That is needed so that you can be equipped to help other people.
Right.
And so,
But it's necessary
it's
foundation.
yes, it's definitely necessary. You have
So
to have
education.
that. Yes, you definitely need to have, your degree. But there were certain things in regards to responsibility of self and knowing how to take care of myself and knowing how to, as I'm helping other people, making sure that I'm following everything I'm telling them. That's super important.
Okay.
And in counseling, you'll provide service to someone, but there's almost like a mirror saying, are you using these same techniques? Are you living in your truth? Are you being the best that you can be?
Right.
And so you really deal with a lot of self
Okay.
with counseling and being a counselor.
Yeah, I mean, because you're taking on so many people's energy, and you're taking on so many people's issues.
Right.
And if you're not living what you're speaking, it's almost like, am I really giving you true strength?
Yes.
Or am I just telling you the foundation, and but it's not a real transformation kind
Absolutely.
of like thing. But I do know that, I mean, we're humans, so sometimes you fall.
Absolutely.
Even though you have this platform to help others, do you then just kind of shut the world out and, hibernate and find your strength again, and then, speak your truth? Or do you think that you can still make a difference while you're, getting yourself together?
I don't think we'll ever have ourselves together, right? That's the beautiful thing about life. I think that's the beautiful
We're
thing
all a
about
work in
God.
progress,
We're
yes.
all a work in progress. But as long as we're working towards those things, and I'm working towards those things that I'm telling my clients to work towards.
Right.
That's the biggest thing. But I know I'll never be perfect.
Right.
And actually, clients want to feel as if you're authentic and you're a person and you're not perfect.
Okay.
I never looked at myself as the expert of my clients' lives.
Right.
They are the expert of themselves. I just have tools to help them get to a particular place.
So you guide them, you tell them, this is what can be resulted if you did this.
Right.
But they have to do their own thing. They
Absolutely.
have to do their own work.
Absolutely. And they develop their own plan. I think people think counseling is someone telling you what to do, or it's something mysterious. Counseling is pretty much empowerment, it's support. It is a science, it's a behavioral science, but ultimately counseling is about the client finding their path, and you are providing them with support objectively so that they can do that. Because sometimes it's hard to go to mom, and sometimes it's hard to go to the church, sometimes it's hard to go, to your friends or whoever you're with in a relationship with. So to go to a professional that studies in, certain areas can be very beneficial.
Do you think that there is a difference between someone who's been through a very dramatic situations, like let's say a death or a car accident, to someone who got out of a marriage, or to someone who's, is there like a different level of trauma?
That's a good question. And I actually provide training to professional counselors, and I do not think that there's a level as it relates to trauma. Trauma is trauma, and what might impact me will impact someone else differently. And so I don't look at levels of abuse, levels of trauma. It just depends on the individual. And when something hurts and it impacts your functioning abilities, it hurts.
Right.
Regardless of what it is.
Right. Yeah, I always, because some of the things that I do that I'm passionate about is life coaching. And so it definitely is about, the core foundation of a person's emotional.
Right. Right.
So it's like everybody feels, fear.
Yeah.
Everybody feels like they want love. They want to overcome adversity. They
Right.
want to, we can all relate when it comes to that type of thing.
Absolutely.
How we got there to experience that is totally in our own journey.
Right. Right.
But the people that, overcame it, they found the way. It's like we feel like there's a duty to tell people there is a way. There
Absolutely.
is,
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's, knowing who God is in our life.
Yes. That is, for me, that is everything.
Yes.
That is everything for me.
Right. Tell us about that.
I think when you get to a place in life when things happen and you truly can't explain it, and you know that it's not deserving, like you're not deserving of it.
Yeah.
That's, for me, I know that's when God is doing that, the work.
Right.
For me to have lost my arm and I gained purpose, I gained a career, I gained more self-esteem, true self-esteem, self-worth. That's something that I didn't have before my accident.
Love it.
I was very much, and I was in college and young, but
egotistical.
yeah, very, 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 very. And ironically, I actually did not get along with girls.
Okay. Yeah.
I had the worst relationships with girls and women. And so it was when God told me I was working with women and girls, I'm like, what?
Yeah, yes.
Me? Are you
I know
serious?
what you're talking about. Uh-huh.
But it just comes to show that you don't have to be perfect, and God can qualify you to be who you're called to be. You don't have to be qualified to be in no position. He'll qualify you.
Yes.
When you're meant to do what you have to do.
I love that so much, because I feel like in God's kingdom, it's because you go through all of these things, you've learned through it, you have true wisdom, in a way where you're no longer in control.
Yes.
It's God that's in control. And when you come to a place of surrenderness, right? You're just like, it's not about me anymore, Lord. It's about you and what you have, for me.
Right.
Whatever my purpose is, you tell me, I'm going to do it.
Right.
But that's when you gain like real confidence.
Absolutely.
Because it comes from the higher power.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
and I can sense that with you. I mean, since we first met, like 2
Really?
years ago, and I planted a
change.
seed. I was like, I'm gonna be, having a conversation with her, but we're gonna be, broadcasted. So it came to full fruition.
Right.
It was just about timing.
Yes. Timing is everything.
Timing is definitely everything. And so I'm so honored that you're here. We're going to take a short break right now, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about more of your story and journey.
Okay. No problem.
Thank you.
Listen, vision. DC's #1 recording studio.
Hey guys, we are back on Empower Hour with your host Nakornsri and my special guest Janaya Johnson.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. So Janaya, so tell me about the journey of you becoming a counselor and all that. I mean, tell me everything.
Okay. So before I started private practice and considered entrepreneurship, I worked for a number of different agencies. Saw a lot of people capitalizing off of people's hurt and pain.
Wow.
I experienced actual sexual harassment from a therapist that I was working for. And he was actually sexually harassing clients as well.
Wow.
And that experience made me recognize that with my heart and truly wanting to be an impact to others, I can actually own my own agency. I can own my own private practice. And so I went from thinking of just doing counseling to creating my own platform. So it was me seeing people, in powerful positions with mental health, but not utilizing their platform the right way.
Wow.
And that's when I said I had to do what I needed to do for myself.
Right. Because obviously you're in this because you really want to help, people become better.
Absolutely.
And so you have the purest intentions for your platform, but when you see someone, with the authority who are, misusing their power,
Right.
you feel like you want to fight the bully.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so I think that, first of all, were you always an entrepreneurial spirit? No. Okay.
No.
Right.
This probably started me wanting to be an entrepreneur started about 4 years ago.
Okay. Wow.
I just wanted to help.
Yes.
I just wanted to do counseling. Even when I, decided to get my doctoral degree, and it was never about the degrees and being called a doctor. It was all about me being equipped to provide people with good quality service.
Wow.
That was all I wanted.
Right.
But once I recognized people, their heart wasn't in it, so I was attached to agencies that truly was not about the support of the clients that they had. I was like, I have to do my own thing and do it well.
Wow. So when you would see this person, was he sexually abusing you?
He was just harassing comments,
Okay.
trying to, hand on your back, that kind of thing. And I walked off the job. I was just like, I'm not dealing with this. I don't have to deal with this.
Wow.
So just seeing that and then hearing what he was doing to clients, female clients who was coming to see him
Right.
for counseling.
Because
And I
that
was
creates
done.
a space of, inauthentic. You're there. You're supposed to support these people who come to you in their most vulnerable time.
Right.
But that's what's going on in the news today.
Absolutely. Because it's a lot of power.
Right.
Sometimes people are coming to help you. Some therapists and, people who do counseling, they think that they're in a place of power. And it's not power. The
It's like
client
mind
really has
control.
power.
It's-
Absolutely.
And because they're
Absolutely.
vulnerable. Oh, that's horrible. I really dislike when someone tries to target the person who is vulnerable.
Absolutely. I agree.
And
I agree.
In all aspects of life.
Yeah, it's horrible. And people come to counseling typically as a last resort.
Right.
It's not a first resort.
That's true.
You usually go to your family. You go to drugs. You go to alcohol, whatever, to numb yourself. However, when people come to counseling, many times, especially for minority populations, it's a last resort.
True.
And so to not honor when someone comes to see you for support and
Right,
help,
right.
it's a privilege. I look at it as a privilege. You didn't have to come and receive services from me or work with me. You want to divulge your life, and things that you could have suppressed and avoided to talk about, but you came to me for support. I look at it as an honor.
Why do you think that is? The lack of minorities who want counseling. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, that's a good question. And being a minority myself, being a Black woman, I think we deal with so much adversity anyway, and we triumph through it that it becomes a part of our way of being. And there's something called the
true.
trauma brain. And the trauma brain is your brain becomes accustomed to traumatic experiences. But what happens in moments when there is no trauma?
Okay.
When you don't have to be on guard.
Okay.
When you should just be living and existing. Some people who deal with adversity all the time are always in that place of waiting for something to happen. And so you see a lot of anxiety, you see a lot of depression. And so for minority populations, we're very resilient. I think the church is a huge platform, and people go to the church a lot of times for support. And so I think within the past 10 years, counseling has become more normalized for minority populations, especially after 9/11.
Right.
Especially after 9/11, I think everyone was just like, it's okay to receive support.
Right. I know that sometimes, like, marriage counseling can be really hard for some male, like, minority because they feel like, oh, I don't want other people to be in our,
Right.
in our story, in our
Yep.
business and things like that. And maybe it's probably because they're not really ready for real change.
Right.
And real truth.
Right.
And I think that you have to be in a place of really wanting to receive truth to really transform.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you can't
Absolutely.
force people.
No.
Right.
No, you don't. And I think just go to counseling and try it out. I think a lot of people also don't realize at any time if it's not working, the counseling process, you have the ability to go to another counselor. But one counselor might not work. It might not be a good fit for you.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that counseling is not good altogether.
Right.
So
what would you say to someone who came into your office and okay, well, I don't know how deep we can get, but like give me an example of someone coming in and then like what is a good advice to give to that person without, telling their name or whatever.
I guess it depends on what they're coming in for. So they come into my office for like a woman, you're saying. The most important thing before we even dive into the issues is building rapport.
Okay.
Definitely important. And so when people come, and receive services with me, I always let them know that you are the expert of your life. I'm not the expert of your life. I'm just expert on some tools that
Okay.
can help you in your life.
Love it.
And so I really come from a strength-based approach and empowering, clients.
Right. Okay, so you say that they have all the answers. You're the one who's just kind of asking the right questions.
Right.
And
So
guiding
that
them.
they can arrive with the answer that's best for them.
Right.
Because I never want a client to become dependent on me
That's true.
and always seeking me, for answers. But I think of it kind of like, and Oprah says, like those aha moments you have in life. When a client has that epiphany and a realization, it's nothing better for them to have that experience on their own versus me telling them.
Right, true.
Yeah.
So is there like a teacher student teacher kind of, you guys are kind of learning from, do you ever learn from them too?
Absolutely. Clients definitely help me grow. Absolutely. And I actually look at counseling as a part of education. And so it's teaching them new communication skills and coping skills and knowing their strengths, and just different things like that. So a huge part of counseling is not only support, but education.
Well, I have been looking at your Instagram, your social media, seeing what you're doing, especially with the platform that you just recently created. It's counseling for the youth, the young girls who really need the support. It's called PINK, right?
Yes, PINK Counseling Services, and PINK is an acronym that stands for Positive Interventions for Necessary Knowledge.
Love it. Oh, there it goes. Love it.
Thank you.
So tell us more about that. Like, how did that come about?
So again, God just told me that right now my season is to work with teen girls. I want to work with women as well, but I really think my season right now is to work with teen girls. I think that teen girls are dealing with a lot of challenges. And people are always asking me, well, how do you know teen girls are dealing with challenges? And I'm like, because I'm a woman and I'm dealing with challenges.
Right,
and I'm trying to figure it out.
True.
So I know that they're trying to figure it out,
Yeah.
and with social media and bullying and pressure, family dynamics, it's just a lot
Yeah.
to navigate.
You know what I love about you is that people can really relate to you as far as young women period, because you are stylish, you are fabulous, you love to travel,
Thank
you love the nice things in life, as well as you really love to make an impact.
Yes.
Like you
Yes.
really have a true calling.
Yes.
And so I believe that, when you go to these young girls, they have to see someone that they can relate to.
I agree.
You can't walk in and be so like stiff, and they're kind of like, well, I don't see me in that person.
Right. Absolutely.
So-
Absolutely.
So I really love that about you, and I
Thank
know
you.
that you have a really great platform to really reach them.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and so can you tell us where we could find your organization?
Yes. So I'm on Instagram. It's called Pink Counseling. And you can actually, follow me by the end of this year. It takes about 6 months. I'm in the process of being paneled for all insurances.
Wow.
So in Hampton, Virginia, I will be able to provide counseling to teen girls as well as women. But right now, I'm really focusing on teen girls, accepting all insurances, including Medicaid. So I'm in that process
Right.
now.
So how do you know which is your audience? So, okay, someone who went through a very traumatic time, or someone who just needed to just talk, or someone who just needs to, like, what is your target audience?
My target population is honestly teen girls who are dealing with self-esteem issues, issues with depression, anxiety, as well as pressure, relational issues within their family, suicidal ideation, just daily things that girls deal with.
Right.
Daily issues that, girls deal with. I'm able to provide support for them,
Right.
with that.
I love it. You're just like a walking vessel.
Thank you. I'm trying to be.
I love it. You are definitely, and I have a women's organization called Queen
Yes.
Society,
Yep.
so you are definitely a queen.
Thank you. Thank you.
I
Thank
love
you.
it so much, and I am so honored, and like I said, so honored for you to be here.
Thank you.
One last thing
Okay.
is, if you can, well, two things.
Okay.
What would you like to be known for? And then I'll ask the other question.
Okay. I would like to be known for, that's a good question. Ooh. I would like to be known for doing what God called me to do on this earth. The one person, or, I would like to please in this world is God. I want him to say, well done.
Yeah.
You did a great job. And, you did it with stride. So that's what I want to be known for. Being pleasing of God.
Oh my gosh! Listen, whoever you are, if you have someone special, you need to wife her now.
Yeah, you do.
Yes, you hear her? Another question is, what is your live and learn moment? What is your message to the world?
My message to the world is that you have chapters in life, and that whatever chapter that you are in, and if it's one that is challenging and is of trauma and adversity, know that this does not define your entire existence. Learn to conceptualize what it is you want in your life, and know that this is just a moment. And try, even if you made a bad decision, whatever happened in your life, know that there's a life lesson that
Right.
can be learned.
Right.
In every situation we deal with, there's a lesson behind it.
I love it. I needed to hear that too. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and watch us next week on Wednesday, 6 to 7. Thank you.
Hi.